The 2020 Highlander, brand new version of the Highlander. Actually.
Yeah. You know, for years the Highlander has just been fine. The new one is actually far more luxurious, and the materials are far better. Todd and I got in, and suddenly we're going like this to the instrument panel, going, well, that's nice.
And not just because we're automotive journalists.
That's
we're kind of drawn to do it.
We'll look at the door. We'll look at this. That's nice and different.
Yeah.
You're watching Everyday Driver. We make a TV show, podcast, and YouTube channels dedicated to great cars, driving adventures, and helping you find a car you'll love. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a thing.
This is fine for light off-roading, but it went far more luxurious, and it's now an expensive option to getting a minivan, but it's far nicer. Honestly, we got in and we thought, well, what's this? What's this little piece? They had like conference tables. They have cord management systems for your cables.
I'm sorry,
who does that?
Well, but who actually sits in a conversation and goes, you know, we should make this car more like a conference table.
Your cables go right
okay, fine,
cord
right,
management systems.
But I don't think that's the positive.
Wire tray. There's
anyway.
places to put your stuff. I'm pretty astounded. Now, this fully loaded is about 50 grand.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to get there. This is the Platinum Super
Not
Awesome
cheap.
Edition, and it starts at 46 grand.
46 is starting.
But
and
the way
then
we have all of this stuff on here, it's 50 grand by the time you actually got it at your local dealer. That is a lot of money. And to be honest, it's hard to spec most minivans to 50 grand. You can do it, but it's hard to do. Now, this is everything, plus it's Toyota's all-wheel drive system, and that means it actually is the all-wheel drive with the torque vectoring.
Yeah, right.
This has a drive shaft that decouples, and when it needs that all-wheel drive, it connects to the back, and the differential actually has locking clutches and can send power to a specific back wheel. Now, it's never more than 50-50. It always starts you all-wheel drive, and then tries to be front-wheel drive unless you have slippage.
But yeah, it'll throw the power side to side, which is excellent. And this is just comfortable. This is the road trip machine supreme. Everything's been updated, and the thematic style elements on the side of the car from the rear wheel arch going forward is the same general shape as what you find on the instrument panel.
You're right.
Things that relate. That's what I look for. It's not just, you know, hey, here's just another kind of entry into the 7-seater world. And there are many. So what differentiates this? I think Toyota knew they had to go upscale despite the price, because the RAV4 has gotten bigger and it's gotten more expensive, but you have so many
sells
options.
like crazy.
It does.
in
9
every
different trim
possible
levels
variant.
on that.
It's nuts how many variants.
But now you've just got a really nice place to be. Road trips, families, it is the anti-minivan choice. And it's a great one. It's just comfortable.
Now, look, this has got quite a bit of body roll. I am in sport mode. There is still a prodigious amount of body roll.
Prodigious, you used that in a sentence.
There you go, I did. It's amazing how much body roll there is. It doesn't have a precision to the way it steers. However, I will give it points back here. It doesn't drive as big as it looks.
I agree with that.
It drives small, which is always something that I'm impressed by. Think about the competitors. This is the Kia Telluride, the Palisade from Hyundai, the Traverse, the Acadia,
certainly Acadia,
the Explorer. Think of the 7-seaters that are not body on frame, that are unibody. That's what this is competing with. Full 7-seater here. It isn't enormous, but yet you look at it, it looks like it's pretty big. You drive it and you go, this doesn't feel big at all, which is great for most people that are going to buy it.
That's something that we always look for in cars. If it drives better and smaller than it actually is, that's a bonus for the driver, which we like.
For sure. I think the CX-9 drives a little sportier than this. That's another one that's a competitor in this realm. I actually think that the Telluride drives a little flatter than this.
Okay.
It doesn't have quite as much body roll as this does,
right.
but it's also very big. So you have trade-offs. Obviously, you're not buying this for its driving dynamics. I mean, you brought it up. This is a minivan alternative. You're not buying it for driving dynamics. But as we both said, I think that drive smaller thing is a bonus.
The other bonus is the paint color.
Oh, no.
It's called Moon Dust.
Yeah, it's gray. It's gray.
Awesome.
It's a $425 upcharge to get gray.
I love it. It's got actual space particles
mixed
into the paint.
If they'd gone to NASA and gotten moon dust in it, I would pay the upcharge. Otherwise, you gave me gray.
They're charging you for the rocket fuel to go get the moon dust and mix it into the paint. It's a special edition. Not really. Anyway, but the color is nice. I do like it. And, you know, there's people that pay to come up with the names of colors. So moon dust is what it is.
Moon dust.
It looks good. And, you know, No more boring SUVs. Let's get a nice color on it. Let's get something.
Let's get a nice color on it. Gray does not qualify. I don't care if you called it.
You don't want
dust,
this thing
gray.
in yellow.
I don't want it in yellow.
Or
You're right.
Red or.
It looks good in red.
Red would be a little bit in your face. It's a lot. Big for red.
It's a lot of hello.
Red would be a lot of red.
Hello,
Lots
I'm here.
of surface
Here's
to
the
paint.
red. Yeah.
All right, so the interior and the seats are comfortable. Again, road tripping material.
There's not a ton of space in third row.
Second row, there's great
second
space
row's
right
got
here.
great space. Now that will slide forward and back as most of the second rows do. If you slide these second row forward, you can get enough space to get people in the back. Kids are going to be best back there. You don't really want to be adults back there, but you could do it. It is a genuine road trip car.
Look, a shot against the instrument panel is the giant mirror that is gloss black. And we keep complaining about this, and it keeps being applied. You know, having the contrast with the black surround for all of the instruments that you want, all the gauges and nav screen that you want to see. I get it, but if you look past the gauges, it's a gigantic mirror right here.
It is a huge mirror,
It's really kind of strange.
Yeah.
It looks glossy and shiny, but I don't want it to be quite so reflective.
It almost seems like a household-sized piece here.
Yeah,
in your
it's
car.
huge.
And it's not all screen. But
I like the floating look. I like the floating piece here. It looks great. I'm impressed with this.
You have to drive it.
All right, so take a look at the outside of this thing. It is actually pretty aggressive looking, and it looks a little bit beefy, off-roady. It is the opposite of just a minivan with normal opening doors. It looks kind of tough.
They gave it a truck look, but they did give it the soft, luxurious truck look. It doesn't have a rugged feel like the Tundras and the Sequoias and those kind of things. Now, granted, those are pretty old now and need a refresh.
Yeah.
But those have got much more of a traditional truck look. This looks like the guy that used to be rugged and outdoorsy and has gotten a little soft. Still rugged and outdoorsy, but he's gotten a little more luxurious.
Okay, fair enough.
He's relaxed a bit more. That's the look of this thing.
Okay, well, every surface has been touched, even the sculpting on the hood. So everything is designed. It's not over-designed necessarily, but it does have a nice, aggressive look. It's funny that, you know, boxier styling is still something that says off-road and rugged sort of styling, and that's what this does have.
Of course, you can get this in a front-wheel drive variant. This is the same 3.5-liter V6.
Yeah,
look at that. Front-wheel drive. There,
she moves.
Hey,
she's got some power.
Look at that. 295 horsepower and about 260-something pound-feet.
It's 263 torques, and she moves.
So same engine and transmission, whether you get front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. You lose like a mile per gallon average if you get the all-wheel drive. And if you get something like this, you're probably getting the all-wheel drive.
Oh, this is great. You know what? Something we also look for is road noise in something this big. It seems pretty decent. There's a tiny, tiny bit here, but otherwise...
We're on all seasons here. There's some tire roar here. It doesn't feel isolated in that regard, but honestly, it's competitive with most of the stuff in the class.
You're right. There's not a lot of direct feedback here. There's not a lot of directness to the handling, but it's on the softer side for suspension, and that's kind of what you want. You don't want a hardcore, really anything when you come to this size and this level. So for that, it rides well.
Rides well, but I mean the ride is the trade-off with the body roll.
Yeah.
That suppleness to the ride.
Yeah, but nobody's going to be taking canyon curves in
this
thing.
Most people will
nobody's
not drive this the way you and I are going to drive it. This is true.
Oh, yeah. Pretty comfortable.
You
Seats
okay
are good.
Over there? Can I give you a minute?
I just need to adjust a little bit. This is nice.
Adjusting on the fly. All kinds of bad ideas are happening
lumbar.
Here.
Oh.
Well, that's just kind of seats, though.
Wow, that's great.
We're going to give Paul a minute. Ooh. We're going to come back later when he's adjusted himself.
Okay. That's better. I like that. Okay, I'm good to go. This is nice.
Are you sure?
It's big. It feels big, but not too big.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think it feels as big as it looks. I really do think it feels smaller than it looks.
It does. This is what people are buying right now.
Like crazy.
This and a little bit smaller. If you need seven passengers, 7 people, this is what you buy. The next steps are still increasing comfort, luxury, convenience, all that stuff.
Hybridization, which you can get this in a hybrid. This is not the hybrid. You can get it in a hybrid. So it already exists here. More electric assist. These will be options, but I don't think these big guys are ever really going away, honestly.
You know, I think it's still the appeal of off-road look. Even though you don't quite go off-road and you're not using it for that, You want that image.
When that truck spilled gravel in the Starbucks line, that's your off-road.
Like, I'm going to put it in. Well, no, I don't need to. Let's just drive over it. It's going to be fine.
I don't even know how much most people, honestly, will ever even be aware that this all-wheel drive system is working.
You shouldn't be aware of it working.
True.
You shouldn't, actually.
But it's going to be part of what happens when you first accelerate from a stop to like 15 miles an hour, it's engaged, and then it goes full front-wheel drive. Then it throws power to the side wheels, depending upon what it needs when it feels slip. Most people are never going to know that, but they're going to like that sense of security. That's what happens. I can buy all-season tires and my all-wheel drive, and whatever I encounter, I'll be fine, which isn't entirely true, but it's good enough for most times.
Yeah, I agree. This is a solid choice, honestly. I'm glad they pushed it upscale, even though it does push the price up.
Yeah.
But it gave it more character in my mind. It's not quite so, here's just our choice, here's just our entry, and everything works fine. It's now to the level of, all right, we're noticing things, we're noticing materials, we're noticing, do you want to be here? Do you want to be sitting here driving or not?
And if you bought the base one at $35, I think it would start to feel quite a bit cheaper than this does.
Yeah.
Granted, $50 is a lot of money for this. A whole lot of money.
No doubt.
I mean, the Telluride and those, the Telluride and the Palisade, those are just under this by a couple $1,000, spec'd out a similar way. But we're all in a similar price point once you check all the boxes, and that's the thing about press cars. They check all the boxes.
For sure.
They get every option available, and that's why it's $50,000.
But you can't get moon dust on those. You get moon dust on this car.
Moon dust. Stop it with the moon dust. It's great.
Awesome.
It's just
moon
great.
roof, moon dust. There's a lot of space in the car.
Stop.